All right. Thanks, Dan. It's always good to be here, and thanks for giving us an opportunity, me and Paul, an opportunity to say a few words. I don't think I've been coming to this since I was 12, Jerry, but I think this started when I was 15 years old. And I know my little brother mowed Jerry Hyland's grass during his campaign in 1987, so I have been coming to a lot of these, and it's always a wonderful event to see so many people here from our community to speak and hear what's going on. I'm just going to talk really quick about a couple things about our budget, which that's kind of, I think, going to be the main focus of the session. A couple bills that are bouncing around, and then some of the hot issues. So we have a brand new building, by the way, in Richmond. Please come down and visit us. You help pay for it. It's a $250 million new office building. It's probably one of the best in America. We have brand new hearing rooms. We have brand new offices. We have a restaurant finally. Capitol Square has been a food desert for the last 6 years. We have tunnels that connect everything, so you only have to go through security once. So it's a much more comfortable facility to come and visit us and lobby us and meet us. And most legislators, if they have a constituent present, will come and make time to meet with you. We're very open like that in Richmond, and we don't get to see a lot of people, especially here from Mount Vernon. So please come down. We have new majorities. We have a brand new Democratic majority in the House of Delegates, which is a big change. We're the first black speaker in the 400-year history of the House of Delegates. Delegate Krizak, he can talk a little bit about what's going on in the House, but it's been a big change over there. In my caucus, my caucus is over half of my caucus, my Democratic caucus, has been there less than 1 year, which is amazing. We haven't had this much change in our legislature since about 1925, I think. I have, out of the 21 members of my caucus, I think 9 are freshmen and 2 have been there less than 12 months. So we have also 7 brand new Republicans as well. So it's not just on our side, it's on all sides. And that's kind of changed, I think, how we get things done. If you would listen to our governor and his talk about our budget, he would tell you everything's fine, it's great, we have lots of money, we can cut taxes all day, you can have everything you want, don't have to pay for anything. It's not how it works. The governor's budget, I was very disappointed in. He wanted to cut income taxes while raising sales taxes. The net effect of that would be to say if you make more than $200,000 a year, you would pay about $9,000 less per year in state income taxes. But if you make less than $50,000 a year, you would pay more in taxes because of the sales tax increase. And that was just totally unacceptable to me and my caucus. I think also to Delegate Krizak as well in his caucus. He also talked about cutting the car tax, or getting rid of it actually, which is very politically popular. But he never had a plan, explained how he was going to do it or accomplish it. And Supervisor Storr can tell you the car tax in Northern Virginia pays for about $3,500 per student in our school system. And he never explained where he was going to come up, get everybody in this room to come up with that amount of money to pay for it. And this is why we haven't talked about it for 25 years, because it's really a hard thing to figure out. I mean, to make up that kind of money, it would take a massive income tax increase. And so that's not going to be a thing. So once we unwind all of his budget gimmicks, we discover that after the Medicaid, the K through 12, all the sort of budget creep you normally have, there's really not a ton of money in our budget. And we just had our independent auditor do a big study of our K through 12 system. And according to the auditor, we are about $7 billion behind what we should be spending on K through 12 on a statewide basis at the state level. And Chairman McKay likes to point out that our study says the state of West Virginia spends 25% more than Virginia on K through 12. I just want you to think about that for a second. I mean, West Virginia is ahead of us. Kentucky spends more than Virginia does. We're getting outspent by all of our neighboring states on this. And it's about a $7 billion hole. And just to have an understanding of how big that is, if we were to raise income taxes to 10% on people making more than $1 million a year, that would only pick up about $1.3 billion out of the 7. So, if we're going to start making progress on investing in our children, investing in K through 12, you're going to start to hear discussion about trying to do something on the revenue side over the next 4 or 5 years, because that's the only way we're ever going to make up that hole. And I just want to make sure everybody's clear about that at the outset. The county is dealing with their own challenges, which I'm sure Dan will talk about. But when you see commercial office buildings in this county selling at a third of the price they did 5 years ago, we have a big commercial property tax crunch in this county, which is why one of the things you heard about was the Fairfax Casino this year in Tysons. I know, the casino across the river that all of us see when we come in, it's the most profitable casino outside of Las Vegas. They see over $1 billion a year in table game revenue going through there every year. When we studied this 5 years ago in Fairfax, they said the most valuable casino opportunity in Virginia is in Tysons. And that's one of the reasons I supported that. A casino in Tyson's would save you all, everybody in this room, about $500 a year in property taxes, because the revenue would generate off of tourists and off of people out of the state and people coming to visit. So it's not going to go this session. The bill didn't pass. It died in committee. There's a lot of opposition, McLean, to it, obviously. But we have to diversify our revenue sources in this county if we're going to be able to provide the quality of services that I think everybody in this room expects out of their K through 12 system and your parks and your rec centers that you're going to see and everything else. So that's one of the things we talked about. If you were up here, you'd probably think all we talk about is casinos and arenas. We actually do a lot more than that. But the arena, I'm not going to talk about the arena very long. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. The governor finally put out a transportation plan on it. It's not as many cars as you think. When you think about the volume that goes into the Cap Center, it's actually about the size of 2, maybe 2.5 high school graduations per game. It's not a football stadium. It's about 18,000 people per game. So it's actually not a big event. I don't know whether where that's going to go. We've sort of passed so far. I mean, you heard the congressman a moment ago about how productive their Congress has been. What was it, 24 bills or 30 bills or what? We've done about 400 so far in the Senate. We have about 300 to go, I think, in the next 3 days. And then we'll do another probably another 400 or 500 bills after that come out of the House. We tend to be very efficient, move very quickly. But some things that we're fighting about a lot, you're going to be reading more. I think there's an article today about all the firearm bills we passed. We passed a ban on AR-15 rifles, which I think is important. We also passed a law saying you can't carry your AR-15 in public. My father and my son like to go to the Alexandria Farmers Market every day, and one day they went there. My dad gets a ham biscuit, my son gets cookies, and they went there and saw these guys from Prince George carrying AR-15 rifles at the farmers market, which my son still talks about today. I asked the guy on the floor, "Why do you need to carry it in public?" And he said, "Well, it's my God-given right." We passed a 5-day waiting period for guns. We passed safe storage laws. We've passed laws creating liability for gun manufacturers that knowingly sell rifles that are known to kill a lot of people. We've done a lot there. We're passing a bunch of laws, I think on Monday or Tuesday, to protect women's right to make their own health care decisions, which I think we need to continue to press hard on. Other than that, we have a lot of bills churning through the system. It goes very quickly. We need you to communicate with us to tell us what we need to keep an eye on, what we need to be aware of. It happens so fast. It's like skeet shooting. I tell people on the floor, they just say pull, and you're like, what? I gotta. So, and the last thing I'll just say, following on what Congressman Connolly said, when I came out of the building last night at 6 o'clock, I ran to a senator from Roanoke, and he's like, what are you doing this weekend? I said, I got to go to a town hall. And he's like, you Northern Virginians and your town halls. They don't do this in the rest of the state, okay? I want you all to understand how special this is. This is not, they don't see this level of civic activism and engagement in most of the rest of the state, and they think we're weird because we do these things. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the feedback and being able to communicate with you all and hear what you have to say. And please make sure we keep doing this year after year. And